I'd like to introduce you to Beth Bingaman. Beth has been with womenspeakers.com. I don't know how long, Beth, a long time, I think.
A long time. I think 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I know it's been years and years, but just love watching your ministry, and your heart is always so beautiful. Anytime that we have interacted, I've just always loved your heart so much. Oh. Your heart for women, for Jesus, for me.
That's the heart the Lord gave me. I'm grateful.
That's right. And you're being an awesome flow-through vessel for His love to others. And I was curious, what is your most requested topic?
My most requested topic is intentional friendships, which was a retreat that a church specifically asked me to do, which covers both mentoring and Christian friendships between two women. And so I do it in a one-day or in a weekend retreat with 4 or 5 sessions, so that it kind of fits into many different schedules. But that is my number one request all the time.
Cool. That's cool. And I one of the things I wanted to introduce you guys to about Beth is your branding. So you brand with pink. I love that. And is that like your favorite color, or did you happen to fall into that, or was that real intentional?
I sort of fell into that because pink is a color. You've seen that I have that gray crown of glory, and pink is a good contrasting color with that. And so when I had the picture taken, initially I had blacks and pinks, so it started pink and black, and then pink has been the thing that has really stayed through it in some trainings that I have done. I've learned that you have to be consistent across all of your modes. So on Facebook, on Twitter, on my website, now I have a little Mentoring Minute newsletter. All of those have that same pink flower theme running through them. And that's been good for me because it reminds me that I need to do that, and I need to keep it pink so people remember.
Yeah, and then like mine, I use that sea blue or the ocean blue, and that's at womenspeakers.com as well as my own site. I just kind of keep that blue real consistent. And blue is my favorite color, so that works really great. So when you guys are thinking about branding, definitely pick a color you love and will love. Don't pick a color that somebody else wants to do.
And be consistent with it.
And then be consistent, right. And it's not, it's not the most important thing ever, the color or anything. It's just one more of those things that helps lock, people remember by color and picture, not only by your name or by your photo. So where do you actually get most of your leads?
Most of my leads, truthfully, come from 2 avenues. One is I do a mailing once a year, and on that mailing I send them to either womenspeakers.com or to my website, and that's how they contact me, or through word of mouth. One church will hire me, and they will tell someone there will tell another church.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I've seen the most consistent across the board over the years is that the speakers who actually promote womenspeakers.com, and this is kind of, it's kind of, you have to have a sharing mentality, because when you promote womenspeakers.com, they actually have other people to pick when they go there to contact you, right? So, that takes a step of faith, right, to do that. But
but it also has an extremely professional appearance to it. So it doesn't look like you're somebody who just came in and thought, well, I can teach, so I can do this. We can put up our recommendations on that. We can put up all of those little testimonies and things that people see that really legitimize us.
Yeah, it's that external, that verse in Psalms, let another man praise you and not your own lips. It's the place where you get to do that, And that's what, I was thinking over the years, the speakers who have gotten the most leads from womenspeakers.com are the ones who promote womenspeakers.com, which is kind of obvious. But yet at the same time, it's not altogether obvious. Sometimes gals are like, I don't want to do that because I might miss a lead, but I'm just going to encourage you, if you've been thinking about doing that, it's a great plan. What is one of your favorite things about womenspeakers.com, or maybe something you've learned?
There are a couple things there. One is the formatting was very good for me to just think, because it prompts you, just your basic information, but then what are your topics and an explanation of your topics. And the things that maybe as a newcomer I didn't really think would be all that necessary, the template's kind of up there. So you fill it out as you go, and then it reminds you, I need to ask people for a testimony so that I can put it there, that kind of thing. I also took advantage of a lot of your trainings early on.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, in the very beginning, which talked about not just speaking, but writing and organization, and there were all these different parts that go with being a speaker that, again, aren't all that obvious if you're brand new to it. So some of those training sessions were very helpful for me, just it was worth the time I spent on them. How's that? That's, I think, what I really mean is when you go through there and you think, well, I'm pretty good at this, but why would she have something up here about writing a book when I'm a speaker? That kind of thing. So you go through and you just learn what's important in the bigger picture of speaking.
Yeah, I love that. And you guys can access those trainings over at marniesfriends.com. They're all right there for you anytime. There's a speaker category, a writer, even women's ministry leader training, event planner training, all of that stuff's over there for free. Thanks for mentioning that, Beth. And then I was curious about pricing. Like, do you have a structured price, or how do you do that?
I do not have a structured price. This is my standard line that I use with every opportunity I have. I say I will accept whatever your ministry budget allows. My goal is not to have my ministry be a drain on my family finances. Because I want them to realize that I expect to be paid because I'm going to travel and I'm going to spend a lot of time preparing for that. But it's not for me, at least, all about the money. And truthfully, the Lord has taken care of me every time.
Yeah, right.
There have been a couple that have been pretty small and a couple that have been pretty large.
Yeah,
and it all seems to even out. And I don't make a lot of money at this. Not my goal.
Mm-hmm. Yep, right. And that is a difference, you guys, if you're going into this full time and you're the breadwinner, or you need to have that.
Very different.
That's a whole different situation. And a lot of people aren't in that situation. But if you are, then that you have to think about that differently. So, are you very involved in social media? What do you do with that?
I'm very involved in social media. It's a very convicting question sometimes because you spend too much time on there. Yeah. But I have a personal page on Facebook, and then I have a Beth Bingaman Ministries page on Facebook. And I blog twice a week, and that is one of the places where I've been very consistent, is to keep that ministry presence up on Facebook regularly. So I put the blog on my website, but then I share it onto Facebook and onto Twitter. So twice a week I do that. I'm very faithful on Facebook to go through and try to kind of maintain relationships with people and make some comments, that kind of thing. I'm not as good about Twitter. I don't see it as big a platform for my ministry. I don't get much feedback from there. I don't get many clicks from that. It just seems like they really do like their 80 some characters now, and they don't click through to read a whole blog of 500 words or whatever, or they click through but they're there 30 seconds or something. So I don't worry as much about that. I have not gotten into any others. I am headed into Instagram because I just published a book, and so I am probably going to do some advertising on Instagram that my daughter's going to help me with. I'm grateful for a generation who knows more than I do. So I will be there, but I probably check Facebook truthfully 5 or 6 times a day. I'm never there for more than 10 or 15 minutes, but I check it frequently because if there's been a comment on a blog post, I want to respond to that, or at least that's my excuse. How's that?
Well, that's honest. So what's the name of your new book?
My name, it's Intentional Influence, a Woman's Guide to Biblical Mentoring. And it is based off of those intentional friendship speaking sessions, except that that can be really misleading to call intentional friendships and have it be mostly about mentoring. So the
Right.
book is finally the book on mentoring that I've been writing for several years now.
Probably your whole life, right? Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm
Good.
very excited about that.
Okay, last question for you. What are 3 of your favorite tips for keeping your speaking ministry organized?
Okay, I do several things. One is I have an Excel spreadsheet that I keep track of all of my incoming money, all of my income, and all of my expenses, and they're just categorized. So that is a huge financial help at tax time. And then I keep all of my written work I'm a Word document person, but in folders. And I'll tell you one thing I've learned. I have kept the organization by the organization that I was speaking for. So, it'll say First Baptist Church of wherever, and then it'll have the speaking that I did there and whatever notes I have. Sometimes I write it all out. Sometimes it's just notes. But what I've figured out is now I want to go back and I want to find, hearts of humility, and I have to remember what church that I spoke to when I did that. And so now I have to go back in and reorganize that so that I also have it in by title of the speaking of the retreat or whatever it is. So that's kind of been a mistake that I've caught up, that has caught up with me actually. So that would be a couple.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, I think that's about it, really. That's what I do.
Yeah, and I think on the Word doc, I think one of the things that I encourage you guys to do is start an Excel form, in your Excel, have a column that has like your church name, your topic title, and then keywords, like the different things you talked about, or even scripture verses. And you can just search, you can just do a search of all of it, and you can find which file it's in. So I learned that from Paper Tiger, and you can just create your own
I will
Excel.
adopt that. Thank you. That's a great idea.
Yeah, because when you're doing it, you have to have that contact information for that church somewhere anyway. So you might as well just put your keywords in there too. Very cool. Well, Beth, go ahead.
Can I just tell you where else that might help? At least for me, is if I go to write a blog post on a scripture and I think, I did a retreat where I used those verses. If I could go to Excel and find that scripture, I could find what I've already written to add to a blog post.
Oh, exactly. And then, later when you guys are pulling together a book, all of a sudden, all of your illustrations, everything, you can just go right back and get that. Because I'm like you, too. When you've been speaking for, 10, 20 years or whatever, you have a lot of notes. You have a lot. And it's like, where did I ever use that before?
Right, exactly.
Oh, too much fun. Well, this has been great, Beth. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.